Hi students, Jolene here. Let's take a look at the outdoor signage created by previous students. Here's the first one we're going to take a look at, and I really like this one. One of the things I like about it is that the fish, the koi, in this instance, is used as a pointer to guide your eye to this word. I would like it even better if perhaps it was pointing towards the words koi pond rather than villas. But still, the layout is done very nicely. Let's look at another one. I should have said very nice, not nicely. Okay, back to this. This is a good example of a brainstorm. So when you get to looking at the assignment, you'll see that you're going to create several different lists during your brainstorm. You can use lists of animals and or plants, a geographic location, and then the type of development. And then now this student has started working in the rough process with some different ideas for owls, trying it in many different ways. Now the student is refining. Here are type trials, more type trials, color palettes. Now this is a 2-color project. And black, I'll remind you that black is a color. So she's got color palettes here with 3 different colors. Don't do that. You can only use 2 colors. More type trials, and then there's the final, which is just 2 colors, by the way. All right, more brainstorms. And then comps. You're only going to need 2 comps. This student did more than that during the experimentation phase. Lots of type experimentation. And then that's the final. So notice here with the type that the student has used 2 different kinds of type, kind of a fancy type for Swan, and then the word apartments is a sans serif font. Problem with this one is that it's missing the geographic location. No, it isn't. C would be the geographic location, so it fits the bill perfectly. Here's another one. This one's pretty fun. And it's a little bit different than what the assignment calls for, because we see here greetings from Dino Land and then live among the dinosaurs. So this one is clever, but it doesn't really fit this assignment. Now this one is using a penguin, and this one works really well because a penguin's beak is pointing to Emperor Penguin Estuary. And this piece here, this kind of iceberg, is pointing to the penguin. So we kind of get this circular effect here with the eye. Note also that we have an implied line here that our eye naturally sees even though it's not there. So this works really well because we have lots of negative space all over for our eye to rest, and then these bold colors, the black and lime green. Really nice contrast. All right, here's another process, working with the idea of a fox. And then this is really well done because this student has decided on using a fox Got an image off the internet of a fox, this whole one, with it kind of moving or about to move, about to pounce perhaps, and then has taken just used all of it, a side view, giving us a front view, and then just using the tail as part of the type design. Here we see the valley, and this works really well because we've got valley and village, those two V's, and the village or the valley makes a V. So lots of really good ideas are being explored here. And then that is the final. Now, there's no valley here. That it's more like a ridge. But yeah, I think it's still working. This is a really fun one, Meerkat Manor. I don't think that's spelled correctly. But this is working. You have to agree this font is perfectly appropriate for this. This word should be estates, not estate, because remember, this is a housing development, which means multiple homes in the development. So make sure you take that into consideration. But I think this one is working really well. The meerkats look happy. It's very inviting. Here's another one. Oh, this is a fun one. Marching millipede is the idea. And let's see what this student does. So we've got the Marching Millipede Mobile Estates. So it's a mobile home that, it's a millipede and a mobile home. So this is really fun. It's humorous. It's not real, but people will get a kick out of it when they see it in your portfolio. Notice the type has just really, it's very subtle, but little legs like a millipede has on it. It's very subliminal. All right, here's another one for Elephant Gorge Estates, also trying Kangaroo Canyon condos. So when you're first experimenting and doing your roughs, you can say, well, let me see which one of these is gonna work out the best for me here. And this student decided on Elephant Gorge Estates. Now we've got really good contrast here. I think a little bit more could have been done with the type rather than it all just being on one linear line. It's a little bit boring. Type could have been stacked or done in a more creative way. All right, let's take a look at this one. We see Timberwolf Mountain here. This is where the students started experimenting, but then we also see these fireflies. No, not fireflies, dragonflies. And then this is the final. Very, very elegant, simple, lots of negative space. The word is estates is subordinate to Dragonfly Bay, which is the way it should be. The name of the community is Dragonfly Bay Estates, but this word is subordinate to this. I don't usually like lines being used, but in this case, I think it works really well, especially with the dragonfly kind of breaching that line and becoming a part of the title. All right, let's see what this student did. Sunset Terrace. And then there's the final, Sunset Terrace Townhomes. Coming up with words that work well together. Remember, you're going to be creating 3 different words. Your name of something in nature, plant, animal, in this case, sunset. That's pushing the limit a little bit, but it works. And then terrace. Should be a geographic location, but it's kind of working okay. And then the word townhomes is subordinate to this title. Another brainstorm. Trying lots of different things, both with drawing and this is perfectly fine if you sketch something out in your sketchbook as an idea. Just take a picture of it with your cell phone and upload that so I can take a look at it. And by the way, I'll use this opportunity to remind you when you do or place, I should say, files in your Illustrator file, make sure that you embed them rather than link them so that they will show up on my end. If you link them, they probably will not show up. And now trying different ideas. Oops, I went backwards there. And now settling on Parrot Paradise Apartments and trying it in different 2-color palettes, which is a great idea to see which one's going to be the strongest. Trying lots of different font ideas. And that's the final. Very strong contrast and a clever way to do the type. Here's another one. Lots of type trials. This is the best way to come up with the best solution, is to try many different styles, type styles, fonts, see what works. Experimenting with the snake, how to portray the snake. Trying it in a couple of different more ways there, and then that's the final. Very strong. Here's a fun one for the McDiver Hotel Underwater Retreat. That's a fun one. Not real, but fun and interesting. A fun thing for your portfolio. Pelican Perch. She tried lots of different words. Pelican Harbor, Pelican Park. Just lots of different surfside lofts, just a lot of different ideas here. Experimenting with contrasting color palettes, and then that's the final. Here's one for Lilac Lake Estates. We get that beautiful alliteration with the 2 words Lilac Lake. Very simple design there, but it really, everything really pops there. Crocodile Creek condos. I don't think this was the final. Let's look here with this student. Experimenting with colors, how to, so this is the image of the crocodile that this student started with. Trying it with texture in it, trying it with no texture. Type trials, now beginning to experiment, since another good example of alliteration, Crocodile Creek condos, experimenting with those C's. And I don't think that's the final. I might have it in here somewhere because she did some kind of a diagonal thing with it. But even this one, right there, let's see, we can't sit right right there. That was one of the finals, and then I think she actually did it in a different way for the final. All right, here's another one with using pelicans or flamingos. Flamingo Valley Apartments, experimenting with the type. You only need, I believe, 2 comps. Yes, 2 comps, but of course, more is better because you can discover better solutions as you move along. And then this is the final. So here, this is all the same font, but this is bold and this is not. And I think this might even be condensed. But using the 2 different colors here really makes it stand out. And it makes it just all flow. Flamingo Valley Apartments. That works really well. Here's another one, Swan Lake Estates. Another one. Yeah, that's working pretty well. Yeah. And the orca is pointing this way, kind of making this circular way for our eye to move. But it's missing a word. Remember, you need 3 words. And that's all explained in the directions for the assignment. Dolphin Island Villas. This one's not working all that well. The blue type behind this dark gray is making it harder to read, not easier to read. All right, now let's take a look at some that are pretty good but have some kind of issue with them that I want to point out to you. Okay, we've got the shark. The idea of the lines, these blue lines here, was to create the illusion of light coming through the water. And that's a good idea, but they're too strong. They're taking over, making the type harder to read. So a different solution might be better. And there might be a little more detail in this shark than we need. We don't need a lot of detail. But here's a fun thing that's kind of getting lost, especially because of these light rays. The A has a shark fin cut out of it. Really good idea. This word villas looks like it's just plopped in there. A different font might have worked better. So this is a little bit chaotic, this whole thing. The reason I'm showing you this one is because this is all kind of jagged on the edges. That could be cut off and made nice and tidy with a clipping mask. And perhaps here the word estates could be aligned to the right here with the edge of this E. Make it a little more tidy. This one, the reason I'm showing you this is it's missing words. There's too much detail in the elephant. The elephant is kind of plopped right in the middle. It could have been made bigger and pulled down. This is where you want to use the whole artboard, which is going to end up being for you 8 by 6 inches. Really use the real estate, so to speak, to your advantage. And the word barbaric is not very pleasing for a housing development. Beautiful, elegant, but I think the peacock feather, we don't need to see this whole stem. It could be a lot larger and perhaps used as a pointer. So perhaps if this top part of the peacock feather were down here and kind of coming into the picture plane and then pointing at Peacock Glen Estates, making the word Glen green is bringing more attention to it. Um, these two words are kind of fighting each other because they're different colors. So perhaps Peacock Glen is all one color, and then Estates is a different color. And perhaps Estates could be a different font. Let's see what we got going here. Okay, so this is the brainstorm for Peacock, and I just wanted to show you that because this person did try lots of different ways of doing this. Remember, your drawing does not need to be literal. The shape does not need to be literal. It can be more stylized or conceptual. Here's another brainstorm. I don't know why I have this on the side. Oh, I do know why. It's really good, except remember to put your 1/4 inch guides in here. So the word RHINO Ridge is too close to the edge of what will become the sign. Needs to be at least a 1/4 inch away. We need white space, negative space all the way around. Otherwise, it's really strong and literally and figuratively strong. This is RHINO Ridge, very strong animal, and so the type is reflecting that. So that works really well. Gorilla Grotto Estates, a couple of things that's not working here. It's too sketchy. And the type looks like it was hand drawn. Sometimes that's an appropriate way to do things, but I just don't think it's working here. It's making it difficult to read. Also not really enough yeah, again, it's just kind of chaotic. Let's see what's going on with this one. Type trials, type manipulation, working with pictures and then drawing elements from it. And this is fun, except the words are not big enough. Remember, people are driving by. It might be 60, 70 miles an hour. They don't have very much time to see this. So the words need to be big and strong. And it should be estates, not estates. Estate. Fun design here, very simple, which is what we're going for, but trying to punch out the type here, that's making it hard to read. So another solution needs to be sorted out to make this work even better. Okay, Chaparral Chateau. I don't think this was her final, but it is missing a word. The illustration is very nice, but there's too much of the illustration here. The other thing I'll say about it is this font works really well for this one. Penguin Townhomes, too much detail. We don't really need to see the house. We already know it's this is 4 homes. The penguin is what should be featured here, and there's too much detail in it. Well, let's see, Stargazer Estates. We don't need 2 flowers here. That's just taking up too much room. We don't even need to see the whole flower. This could be, part of it could be clipped out. Also, too much detail here. And also, putting a stroke on this type is making it harder to read, not easier to read. Pretty fun idea here with the penguin, but like another student did the beak could have been used as a pointer, so this could be moved up. And this type solution is just not working very well. Let's see what we have here. This was, I thought, a really good idea, but not executed very well. If you take a look at this, I don't know if you see it right away, but this is, because I didn't, this is a lighthouse. And this type, this blank part of the type is meant to reflect the light that's projected from a lighthouse. But it's just not really working. And these words all just look like they were just plopped down without any thought to how they can work together. It looks like Stone Harbor Estates, not Stone Harbor Estates. So think about that with your type, and when you come up with a great idea, like I said, I thought this was a great idea, show it to other people and see if they get it. Perhaps just making this light beam wider would have worked. It needed to be flushed out more. Showing you this one for a couple of reasons. Too much detail in this seal. It looks really cartoonish, and a clipping mask should have been used to clip off this side. What do we have here? Experimentation, flamingo perch apartments. This flamingo is beautiful. We don't need these trees on both sides. We may not even need them at all. And the flamingo should be what's standing out here, not the trees. Hamster Island Estates, kind of fun, but again, probably don't need the tree coming in here. These words are spread too far apart, so we see Hamster Island Estates. So be thinking about that. Morning Meadow Estates, very simple design, which is lovely. I like how the O is reflected from this, but this needs to be a lot bigger. And then this one is the last one that I'll show you. Again, too much detail. We don't need to see this wave splashing on the sea lion, and there's too much. The sea lion is too sketchy. So I hope all that input gives you some ideas on the do's and don'ts for this assignment, and I can't wait to see what you create.